Consider the woodlouse, the common pill bug, Armadillidium vulgare. You have seen them scuttling beneath overturned garden stones. Benign, armored droplets of life no larger than a fingernail. They are the innocuous janitors of our sunlit world. But cast that image down into the crushing, eternal blackness of the bathypelagic zone, 3,000 meters beneath the waves. Here, the comfortable laws of biology distort, stretch, and shatter. In this alien dark, that harmless insect metastasizes. It swells into a calcified, 14-legged titan, the size of a household cat. This is Gigantism, the Giant Isopod. To stare into its reflective, compound eyes is to stare into a funhouse mirror where the rules of reality have been warped into a nightmare. Yet, this pale gargoyle is merely the herald of a far more pervasive anomaly. It is not a freakish outlier. It is a soldier in a legion of giants. As we descend away from the sun, the familiar proportions of life are abandoned. Spiders span meters, worms uncoil like living hoses, squid reach sizes that birthed the mythology of the kraken. This is the phenomenon of Abyssal gigantism. It stands as a defiant paradox against everything we understand about survival. In a realm where food is nearly non-existent, and the environment strives to crush life into oblivion, why would evolution, usually a miser with its energy, invest in such extravagant, monstrous scale? We tend to imagine the abyss as a prison of constriction, a vice that should compress life into insignificance. But the deep ocean is not a cage for the small. It is a cathedral for the colossal. To understand why, we must abandon our terrestrial instincts. We must journey into a world where the water pressure can turn a steel submarine into shrapnel, and where the only way to survive the crushing weight is to become a monster. To find the architects of this madness, we must leave the light behind. We plunge past the glittering, chaotic riots of the coral reefs, sinking through the twilight zone where the last photons of the sun gasp and die, swallowed by the infinite blue. As we cross the threshold of 1,000 meters, the ocean ceases to be a habitat. It becomes a hostile planetary surface. We have entered the midnight zone. The first sensation is not the dark, but the cold. It is a piercing, pervasive chill, hovering just above freezing, a thermodynamic tomb that seeks to arrest the very vibration of atoms. In this frigid suspension, chemical reactions sluggishly crawl. The metabolic fire that fuels surface life flickers and dims. A creature here cannot afford to burn energy. It must hoard it, stretching every calorie across months of starvation. Time itself seems to dilate in this freezer of the deep, but the cold is a gentle mercy compared to the pressure. Here, the weight of the water column above is equivalent to having a fully loaded Boeing 747 balanced on your chest. It is a relentless, crushing force of 8 tons per square inch. This pressure does not just act on the macro level. It attacks the molecular machinery of life. It warps proteins, forces cell membranes to solidify like butter in a fridge, and threatens to collapse the delicate double helix of DNA. In this crushing silence, there is no room for the fragile. Air-filled cavities are a death sentence. To exist here is to be squeezed by the fist of a god. Most life would wither, compressed into nothingness. But for a select few, the solution to this insurmountable crushing weight was not to shrink in fear. The solution was to grow, to expand, to become gargantuan. From this oppressive, ink-black silence, a shadow detaches itself from the gloom. It does not swim, it haunts the water column, a spectral galleon of red flesh and ammonia. This is the Colossal Squid, Mesenocothothis hamiltoni. If the giant squid is the serpent of folklore, this is the brute reality of the abyss. Shorter, broader, and significantly heavier. It is the invertebrate equivalent of a gladiator, built not for speed, but for sheer, immovable power. Its eyes are the size of dinner plates. The largest visual organs in the history of Earth evolved to capture the faintest, ghostly glimmer of bioluminescence in a world without sun. In the artificial beam of a submersible, it looks less like an animal and more like a mistake of creation, a billowing cloak of dark red skin that renders it virtually invisible in the deep sea spectrum. But this monstrous scale is not a random mutation. It is a calculated physiological retort to the freezing prison of the deep. This is Kleiber's law turned upside down. In the bitter cold, small bodies lose heat and energy rapidly. They must eat constantly to fuel their furnace. But a massive body, a body of this titanic volume, operates on a geologic timescale. It is a battery that drains slowly. By growing larger, the colossal squid becomes a master of metabolic inertia. It does not chase prey. It exists at them. It is a sit-and-wait predator. A living trap grown to the scale of a city bus, requiring only a fraction of the food a creature its size would need in warmer waters. The cold that should kill it is the very thing that mandates its size. However, the deep is not merely a place of passive drifting. It is an arena of violent silence. The colossal squid's gigantism serves a second, visceral purpose. Defense against the only thing powerful enough to hunt it. Suddenly, the water begins to vibrate. It is a sound felt in the marrow of your bones before it is heard a rhythmic, percussive click, click, click. It intensifies, reaching 230 decibels louder than a jet engine at takeoff. It is the biological sonar of a sperm whale. This is the apex collision of the planet, the largest toothed predator in existence, diving into the dark to execute the largest invertebrate. As the whale descends, scanning the void with sound waves that can stun prey, the squid does not flee. It cannot outrun a warm-blooded engine of muscle. Instead, it turns. It unfurls a crown of tentacles, creating a defensive perimeter of nightmare geometry. And here, the true horror of the colossal squid's design is revealed. Unlike its cousins, which rely on suction cups to grasp, the colossal squid is armed with swiveling, rotating hooks. These are not simple claws. They are recurved blades of chitin, burying deep within the muscle of its arms. Impact, the whale strikes, ramming the soft body with the force of a freight train. The squid reacts with a chaotic explosion of limbs. It wraps itself around the whale's head. The hooks dig in. They rotate. They shear through blubber and skin, anchoring the squid to its attacker in a desperate, gore-slicked embrace. This is not a graceful duel. It is a brawl in the dark. The whale thrashes, biting and tearing, while the squid gouges deep furrows into the whale's face scars that the mammal will wear for decades as tattoos of this encounter. While the whale often wins, dragging the limp mass back to the surface to feast, it leaves unscathed. The existence of the colossal squid forces the ocean's greatest predator to pay a blood tax for every meal. In this frozen hell, size is the only armor that holds. This phenomenon of sea gigantism forces us to confront a humbling, perhaps even terrifying truth. Our definition of normal is parochially limited. We are creatures of the sun and the surface, addicted to warmth and low pressure. We look at the colossal squid and call it a monster. We look at the giant isopod and call it an aberration. But down here, in the crushing dark, we are the aberrations. If a human were to step out here, our lungs would collapse, our nerves would misfire, and we would be crushed instantly. We are soft, gas-filled bags, unfit for the majority of our own planet. The colossal squid, however, is exquisitely calibrated. Its gelatinous body, devoid of air spaces, matches the density of the water around it. It does not fight the pressure, it becomes one with it. This shift in perspective ripples outwards, far beyond the oceans of Earth. If biology can construct titans in the frozen high-pressure abyss of our own planet, where sunlight never touches, then the boundaries of life are far wider than we dared to dream. We look to the stars, to the ice-crusted moons of Jupiter and Saturn, Europa, Enceladus. Beneath their frozen shells lie oceans of darkness and pressure, remarkably similar to our own deep sea. The Colossal Squid is not just an earthly marvel, it is a proof of concept for the world. It proves that life does not need a Goldilocks zone of warmth and light to flourish. It only needs chemistry, time, and the audacity to grow. As we ignite our thrusters and begin the long ascent back to the world of light, the darkness below does not feel empty anymore. It feels heavy with presence. We have peeled back a layer of the planet to reveal a kingdom of giants, a place where the impossible is merely the standard for survival. The horror of the deep is simply a reflection of our own fragility. These creatures have conquered a realm that would crush us in a heartbeat. They are the true astronauts of Earth, thriving in the most hostile environment imaginable. As the first rays of sunlight cut through the water above, turning the black to blue, we must carry this realization with us. We are not the landlords of this planet. We are merely guests living in the penthouse, blissfully unaware of the titans that prowl the basement. And as the surface breaks, one question remains, echoing in the cold silence we left behind. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about our own ocean floor. We have only met the Giant Isopod and the Colossal Squid, but in the remaining 95% of that crushing darkness,